Everybody, Rev Nation here, and today we've got a video that is long overdue. This is the 1-year ownership review and deep dive of my 2022 Toyota 4Runner. Stay tuned. All right, starting off with the styling, I absolutely adore the front end of the Toyota 4Runner. Check out these headlights here and the way that they just kind of bulge out, but they also fit right into that body. You got some heavy line cuts, and you can tell that the designer has paid a lot of attention. And then you got some really nice cutouts there for your ground clearance. I do actually like the Toyota emblem right there, and then you have a lot of room getting that engine nice and cool. It's very functional. That's a lot of air coming in there. Right around the corner here, I do not love the SR5 wheels. I absolutely actually kind of hate those rims, but a lot of people like it. You know, I guess it's just really plain Jane. I don't know. That's just not really my cup of tea. Get in there on the suspension, just really basic setup, but you know, it's robust, it works well, and I got no complaints about that. And coming around the side here, you can see my lovely pinstripes that they put on at the port, supposedly. I think the dealership actually put those on just so they could mark up some more pricing. Got the running, mud flaps right there. And these running boards, these are really cheap and chintzy. I don't even know which brand they are, but they came from the factory. If I could get some other ones, I would, but I'm just not going to spend that kind of money. And coming up, you do have, automatic mirrors and all that stuff. It's got pedestrian detection and the lane keep assist technology in it. We do have the proximity doors, and of course, you know, Toyota is just going to be ultra noisy. But I do like that. You have the smart key detection. That's one thing on my older vehicles that I wish that I had. So you can see, you can lock it, you can unlock it, and you're good to go. Along the side here, just really good styling. You can tell that this is a very robust SUV. It doesn't look super dated, and I just absolutely love the way it looks. There's really no other, larger size SUV on the market that I prefer the styling over this 4Runner. Here up top, you can see that thing. I'll look at the Monroney to tell you exactly how much that is, but you can see there's adjustments there. Not too hard to mess with. I never use it, but for those of you that want to strap a canoe or something like that up top, you can do that. And look at that lovely rear end on this thing. Check that out. Really tasteful, just done perfectly in my opinion. The rear bumper, not overly worked. It's pretty plain Jane, but it doesn't look gaudy by any means. You got your trailer hitch. You do have a full-size spare. Check that out underneath it. And your recovery hooks there. A little bit kind of blingy in my opinion. See all that really chrome looking stuff in there. Don't exactly love that, but it works. I can't really complain too much about that. And one of the coolest things about the 4Runner is when you do that, you can roll that window down. Check that out. That's all you got to do is just hold that, and there you go. That's probably one of the biggest selling points about the 4Runner. There's no other vehicles that do that besides the Tundra, and that's not really the same thing. Starting off with the door panel here, this is really, really solid. You can see that this is super high quality, soft touch materials. Looks great in my opinion, and it feels really good. Down here, again, you've got the padded armrests, really nice stitching throughout. Up here, regular hard plastics. This is a single touch. Sorry, I'll have to turn the power on to give you the display. Get my junk out of the way. But these handles, really high quality. You can do the manual locks if you want, lock, unlock. Really functional. Coming over here to the dash, this is textured plastic. It's not the really cheap, hard plastics that you get in there. You do have kind of like a bash plate here. I think it looks really good. I'm glad that they didn't stick that silly Toyota writing on there, which I'm sure they're going to do in the new model. I did opt for the all-weather floor mats, and these have, paid dividends big time because we get this really dirty. This is my wife. Got some nifty little holders. You can see that she made this thing, and it's got a hook there. You put it right on the vent, and you can stick all sorts of pens and gum, and yeah, she puts all sorts of stuff in there. You can see you don't have a ton of storage. You got 2 cup holders, and those actually kind of suck. The placement of that one I don't love. So if you've got like the ultra big gulps from 7-Eleven or whatever other place, you can see it kind of it gets in the way over here. It just hits things, or you can't put it in there the right way. And then over here, if you're a passenger and you got cups right here, your arm, ends up hitting it. And I just really don't like the layout of the center stack. So what do you got here? We'll turn this on. All right, that's one of the other things, is it takes a good while to kind of actually load up. And it's going to make an ass ton of noise. That's one other downside about Toyotas, is it just beeps and beeps and beeps and beeps. So really annoying. You can see, not the quickest. This will be a nice upgrade when they fix this infotainment. See all those delays? It's not good. And people complain about the infotainment all the time. One of the things that we have a lot of trouble with is the Android Auto. Apple CarPlay works really great, but Android Auto disconnects all the time, so much so that we don't even use it. We opted for one of these, fast chargers to give you a lot more outlets. There is 6 USBs on that one. Because you can see right here, you only get the one freaking USB, which is pretty lame, if you ask me. But I don't dislike the design of this. I think that it overall looks pretty good. It's just not that functional, from a modern technology standpoint, but I don't need a bunch of bullshit anyways. This is your A-track, your traction control over here, or if you can't see that well. And then you have the descent control. So in Nissans, I know they call it hill descent control. You can see that right there. And you got your SOS button for when you get in the car with me. Right on the driver's side, you do have your power adjustable seats. This is really great because I can tell you from my experience, I have a lot of lower back problems, and I tend to get a little sore when I'm riding in this for like 3 hours. So if I'm driving, you can see down here, that lumbar support, let me see if you can get that on video. You really can't tell, but it does go in and out quite a bit. So that's definitely helpful. I do like how the gauge cluster is much more analog than it is digital. The digital displays in here, it won't even let me go through it unless the car's running. So I'll start it up. And now you can see, this is exactly what you get on startup, right? Goes through, you can cycle through all of your little menus and kind of have it your way. I don't really know what that coffee cup is, sway warning. But yeah, there's a bunch of little functions in here. The pixelation is not that great. The graphics, they look kind of ancient. But again, I don't care about any of that stuff. I prefer the more analog, tack and all that good stuff. So fuel gauge, I'd rather see it than, have some number on the screen. Over here, you got your mirror controls, your left and right. Super easy. This will adjust your lights while you're towing so you don't blind people. You got your automatic high beams. And your watts, this is for the charging port in the back. As you can see, you got 2 cup holders there. This is a 40-20-40 split, so you can just put this down if you want to have things going through the middle, wood or your skis or something like that. These cup holders are okay. No real complaints about that. One of the great things about the 4Runner is you do actually have rear AC vents, and then you have USB charging back there too, which is nice. And again, you can see this is what you get if you opt for the all-weather floor mats. It's kind of a pain in the ass to clean, to be honest with you, because it doesn't split in the middle. So you end up spilling everything all over your floor when you're pulling it out to try and clean it. It's super kind of irritating. All right, you got grab handles going in there. The rear seat room is great. I could ride back here for hours. Again, I'm not a huge dude. I'm 5'8". But this is my riding position, and you can see I have a ton of room back here. I'll sit up straight. I still have a ton of headroom. We don't have the sunroof, so that would take away a little bit. But if you get the SR5 Premium, you will most likely get that sunroof in there. Other than that, I don't really foresee anybody having trouble in there. You could fit 3 adults here. I wouldn't want to be stuck back here for hours with 3 adults, but I wouldn't want to do that in any vehicle. So pretty good. And here's a shot of all of the books and stuff that you get as a new 4Runner owner. You can see you got your maintenance manuals, your quick startup guides for all your infotainment right there, your Sirius XM information. You got another quick reference guide, and then a navigation and infotainment manual. And then over there you have your regular owner's manual. So they give you a ton of stuff with these new vehicles, and they give you actually a really nice leather-bound case. Now this is the Monroney here, and that's all the standard equipment that you get with the base SR5 model. Really good stuff. And you can see the MSRP up top, $39,180. They did have a discount, and those are my pretty minimal options. $41,038 for the total price. And here I'm just going over how great the rear seat room is. You know, you can tailgate back there, you can have the whole family, you could literally put a mattress and camp out and load it with all sorts of, groceries, supplies, you name it. So perfect SUV in my opinion for pretty much all things everything. And here's that glorious 4-liter V6 paired to a 5-speed automatic transmission producing 270 horsepower and 278 foot-pounds of torque. It's more than adequate for this platform. The power delivery is immediate and silky smooth. Folks, setting off in the 4Runner here, and let's get her out on the road. So first of all, this is a very, very comfortable cabin. Everything is laid out very simply. You can get everything within hand's reach. All your buttons on the steering wheel are self-explanatory. You're not going to be sitting here monkeying with things trying to figure out what's what. One downside is you actually do have to manually turn your headlights on. It does not have automatic headlights, which is pretty crazy to think that in 2022 or 2023 it doesn't come with that. We're on a decent road right now, but the feel of this is just silky smooth. It's not overly weighty. It has a tad bit of float to it, which I actually prefer. I have a lot of problems with my spine, and this does not fatigue me by any means, like I do end up having happen to me in the Tacoma and a lot of other trucks. Even my little Ranger, I end up getting beat up by that thing from time to time. So this is, a Cadillac by comparison. This probably has somewhat to do with the wheel and tire setup on here. But this does have the 4-wheel drive. It doesn't have any of the off-road suspension. So now we're going through a bunch of stuff. So check that out, right? Like, it's absorbing these things really well. This is a ton of road work. Like, everything's just super dug up around here. And not bad, right? Now we'll get her up to speed on the highway so you can get a listen to how loud things are. I think that this cabin is really quite quiet in comparison to most trucks. It does get a tad bit loud in the rain, I have noticed. And I don't know if that's got something to do with those mud flaps that I have on here. I think it's just more the tires than anything else, not necessarily, the truck per se, but it does get a bit loud. I have gotten annoyed by that from time to time. Overall, check this out. Like, push button, everything, super easy. You can get your glasses and, all that stuff, right? This does come out here. Are you going to be disappointed with, not having the latest and greatest of all technologies? It depends on who you are as a person, really. I could care less about basically any of that. I wouldn't mind having the wireless Apple CarPlay, though. I think that would be nice just because I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. So not having to kind of fumble through this really slow, shitty menu would be a pleasure. And I guess that would be my biggest complaint, is this infotainment system is quite bad. It really is. Toyota should have done a much better job. And the rear view camera resolution is also pretty subpar, in comparison to the vast majority of vehicles. So right now I'm having to get on it because some jagoff, wouldn't let me over. And that's the other thing about this truck. I drive this very spiritedly, let's just say. I beat on this truck a lot, because where I live in the middle of the city, people are just assholes, and they're not going to get out of your way. So you have to be aggressive and defensive when you're driving, right? Like, I get, nearly hit at least once or twice a day. Now we're up on the highway here, going about 60 miles an hour. And you can see it's got a little wind noise. It's got some road noise coming in, but nothing that's, super punishing by any means. So I've lived with this on, many hour road trips, and I've had, no issues. If I could say anything else, I would just say, go take one of these for a test drive, and keep in mind, what you're buying. This is a very capable body-on-frame truck that is going to be able to take you anywhere. You have a super high commanding seating position, which my wife she won't trade that out for anything, right? Like we're going to be moving and she's going to have kind of a large commute. And I said, oh, well, maybe we should, you know, get rid of the 4Runner and get something like a RAV4 hybrid or whatever. And it won't sit up high enough. It doesn't make her feel safe or secure. And it just can't compare to what you're getting here. Well, this drives small. And from my experience, it drives quite small because it is very maneuverable. The turning radius in this truck is fantastic. And you don't feel like you're, you know, driving around some school bus like you do in a lot of full-size pickups. Really not much else in this class that is going to give you all of that. You have the Ford Explorer that's kind of comparable to this, but I can tell you, you know, watch my Ford Explorer review because I talk a lot about comparing it to my 4Runner, and it just doesn't even come anywhere near to standing up to this 4Runner in my opinion. It rides like shit. It feels cheap. It doesn't have a commanding presence on the road. You don't sit up high. It's just not good. And I would never buy a Ford Explorer, nor recommend, you know, anybody really buy it. Is it good enough for most? Sure. But it's just not for me, man. Anyways, to sum everything up, folks, you know, for right around $40,000, get yourself the base trim SR5. It's super comfortable. If you're not an off-road enthusiast or, you know, whatever, and you just want something that is reliable, it's going to get you anywhere, and, you know, it's not going to lose a ton of value or anything like that, and it will give you, you know, no problems. I would recommend this Toyota 4Runner over literally anything else on the market. I'm not going to be selling it. People were asking me, you know, I was talking about it in my other video about the new Tacoma that comes out. They were like, oh, you're gonna sell the 4Runner and get that new Tacoma? Not a chance. Will I buy the new Tacoma? Probably. I don't know. I know myself, so I'll probably end up buying one. I highly doubt I'll keep it for, you know, a super long time. But this machine here is not going anywhere because, again, I'm not going to be able to get another one of them. I could go out and buy a 2023 right now, I guess. I've thought about doing that. But there's really no point, you know. I could put 400,000 more miles on this and there's going to be no issues. So I might as well just keep the one I have. And that sort of sums it up. This is basically one of the best buys that I've ever made in my life. And I think that any of you would feel the same way. All right. Thanks for watching and stay tuned. There'll be plenty of more stuff coming. Like and subscribe, share the video. I appreciate everybody. And I can't believe, you know, the amount of subscribers I have and everything like that. It's like almost 4,000 now, which just blows my mind. I've only had the channel for like 7 months or something like that. So I think that that's pretty good. Let's just see if we can get to that 5,000 mark and beyond. All right. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you.